Good afternoon, Saitlanders. How are you? We hope that you're well. I've just done a video which would appear on BitChute. We've opened a BitChute channel. It's called Saitlanders. It's easy to find to accommodate the many videos that we've made over time pertaining to events in the world that are not consistent with the values of YouTube and their owners Google, and which we couldn't place or did place and had to take down and so on, just to create a sort of an archive and a library of that work and to continue forward. A video in which I spoke about how certain things that we predicted as long ago as 2 years and 2 months ago have been fulfilled or realized or look as if they're going to be realized. And I was trying to make the point that I suppose the ultimate point is that now we can do the same again. You know, we're in a time in history in which it's fairly easy to predict some basic things that are liable to happen in the short to medium term future. There's very little risk or chance of being wrong. And this is not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. I want to refer you back to the statements of certain politicians in April and May of last year, 2020, after the lockdown, the great curfew had begun, and when we were informed on social media that we could expect a great reset. For instance, this article refers, it's on Daily Maverick, it's entitled, Nationalize, Command, Let the White Economy Collapse, Where Malema Leads, ANC's Mzwandile Masina Will Follow. It was written by Stephen Grootes, and it was published on the 1st of June 2020. It begins, I'll just read a little bit of it to you. As millions in South Africa go back to work this Monday morning, the government's long-term economic policy will be key in ensuring the country has a future. However, some ANC leaders appear to be more interested in stoking fears and resentment to suit their own narrow interests. Now, I would put it to you that they weren't stoking fear and resentment, they were advertising their intentions. If that implicitly stoked fear and resentment, then so be it, but that wasn't the primary motive. He goes on to discuss how various countries were handling the COVID thing, and I hope that doesn't get us a strike that I mention the COVID thing. It's not the point at all. And how South African politicians had handled it differently, that they had brazenly spoken about this being a golden opportunity for black people to take control of the economy, for white people, for it to be taken away from white people. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma spoke about class suicide, which was one of the concepts professed by the I want to say Angolan, but I have a feeling that he actually wasn't Angolan, maybe Congolese revolutionary Amilcar Cabral. And the DA picked up on that and suspected that she was referring to the class suicide of the middle class, implicitly white middle class, and there was some debate about that. And you had Julius Malema saying, let the white economy collapse. And you had Mzwandile Masina coming out in support of that assertion. And you had Cyril Ramaphosa making references to that very thorny issue too. And sometime after that, perhaps inspired by those comments, but I'd like to say not. Maybe about 6 months after that, towards the end of last year, we began to speak more and more in international interviews about how these circumstances, the Great Reset, the things transpiring, appear to be directed mostly at the West. And that's not pro or anti-pandemic. It's not pro or anti-vaccination. It's not pro or anti-Great Reset. It's simply a cool and calculated assessment of where the most energy within these things appears to be directed. And so once again, really all I'm doing is recording a video to remind you guys of how a lot of the evidence of what is clear now was vaguely apparent then, as long ago as almost 2 years ago. And I think I'll continue to touch on some of these older topics, older themes that are not, they're not from yesterday, they're from 2 years ago, but they help us to recognize that we weren't all crazy when we identified certain threats 2 years ago, 18 months ago, 15 months ago, that these things were really clear. Just by the way, I'm looking at my screen and seeing in my screen, my laptop screen, the image on that screen. And in case any of you are wondering, it's got absolutely nothing to do with this video. That woman's name is Gail Riplinger. She is an acknowledged authority on the Bible, which Bible is right, which Bible is wrong, which Bible was falsely translated, which was erroneously translated, which is, so on and so forth. You get the picture. And by no means am I trying to convince you that she is the be-all and the end-all. In fact, there are some aspects to her work with which I disagree, but she is very well informed, far more well informed than I am, and I can only learn from her. But that's to digress. Guys, you've heard what I had to say about the white economy thing. You see what is going on around you in the world today. You see where the most harm is being done. In Australia and the USA and Western Europe and Great Britain, you see where the most harm is being done in the South African economy. So the story goes on. Hopefully this will enable you, it will help you, it will empower you to recognize that you're not crazy. I've spoken many times before in videos of the a saying in the USA. What do you call it? A proverb? An idiom? I don't know. Which goes, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? If you think about it for a second, you'll recognize that it's an ironic saying. Clearly, your eyes are the last possible witness that you could have to the truth. But there is this ironic, some people would use the word sarcastic, it's not really, but there is this ironic thing in the USA where they say that that's how the media treats Americans. The media says, you saw the Portland riots with your own eyes. Well, now we're going to tell you that what you saw isn't true. So hopefully you will begin now in this critical phase of history to recognize that you're not crazy. And that we conservatives, we Suidlanders, are not crazy. What we see with our eyes is the truth. The evidence that we've seen around us for 2 years, whether it's pro or anti, is not the point. Did it or did it not occur? Did it or did it not take place? Did it or did it not happen? Did it or did it not transpire? That is the stuff on which we must base our thinking and actions in the days and weeks and months to come, because clearly we are moving into a very, very critical and difficult phase of history. And may God be with you and your families, with you and yours, with your kith and kin, in the dark days which appear to lie ahead of us. But remember always, Oom Sina said, vir diegene wat weet, sal dit nie so erg wees nie. So if you know, it's going to be better for you, presumably because you react, you respond, you do something, you prepare, or you position yourself, or you brace yourself. Okie dokes, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, and God bless you.